Welcome to Good Luck High Five, episode 538.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering. Whether you're like, hey, let me play with the cards I already have, thank you, or you're like, more new sets? Amazing. We are here for you.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Meghan.
And on today's show, speaking of all of that new stuff, there is a ton of new stuff getting infused into Magic here over the next few months.
Yes,
and we haven't talked about it yet.
We haven't, because last week we were talking all about the Pro Tour that just happened. We had special guest Brian David Marshall on. It was just a great time.
It was a great time. We made a cocktail. He told us some stories.
Yeah.
If you tried the cocktail, let us know. I want to know what you thought of it, because I thought it was a true delight.
It was very tasty.
And I just want to know other people's reactions to the flight attendant.
Yes.
That's what he named it. Very cute.
But this week we're talking about all of the things that we didn't cover last week. Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
Doctor Who. Commander Masters. Other stuff. Other things.
We have so much to talk about. Standard changes.
Yes.
Huge news affecting so many different areas of the Magic multiverse.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive into the pool of all of that coming up on this episode. A lot of it very exciting, some of it contentious, but that wouldn't be, it
wouldn't be Magic.
It wouldn't be Magic
if it wasn't contentious.
But before we kick off this show, we have to say thank you to everyone who makes this show be able to be kicked off.
Yes.
Who supports us on patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Thank you everyone who is kicking this show with your money.
Yes, you're paying kicker essentially by listening to the show and being a patron.
So thank you so much to everyone who is a patron over at patreon.com/GLHF Magic.
Do you pay the kicker? I mean, in Magic, you normally want to pay the kicker.
So just consider,
if you pay the kicker
on our podcast, paying the kicker.
You get access to our Discord server, which is full of amazing friends. You get to know that you're supporting creators that you love, and you get other awesome rewards, which you can see on our Patreon site. So come join our family. Mm-hmm. We'd love to have you.
It's a good time.
And, always pay the kicker, basically.
Always pay the kicker. Speaking of always paying the kicker, thank you to Card Kingdom. I don't have a segue for that. Okay. CardKingdom.com/GLHF, the best place to go to buy all of the cards that you need in your Magic life.
Yeah, you can check out, they're selling March of the Machine Aftermath right now if you're interested in that. Those packs of 5 cards, 6 if you get collector boosters. So it's a small supplemental set, but has some cool stuff in there that we're going to talk about later in the show. If you want to get that, CardKingdom.com/GLHF is the link to use to get whatever you want. If you need to buy cards, you can upload a deck list and it'll populate for you, which I think is a really nice service. If you need to sell cards, you can sell cards and then you can get an extra discount, or wait, not a discount.
You get credit.
You get store credit, an additional amount for you to buy new cards, because let's be honest, if we're selling our cards, it's to buy more cards.
It's to buy more cards.
Let's get real.
Why not turn card into card?
Into card.
Card Kingdom, card into card.
Okay, everybody, it's time for the randomizer here at Good Luck High Five. Show me what you got for me, because you've said it's a great piece of art.
Ooh, here you go.
What is this? Everybody, there is a red background. There is a man. He's wearing a turban, and there is a lot of pieces of it coming off in weird kind of spidery ways. He has a crown on. He looks very wealthy, and he's holding some kind of object which is exploding out of his chest, or maybe he's just holding it and it's exploding. Oh man, what the heck is this card?
What would you call his facial expression?
He is constipated.
Yeah, that's about what it is, I think.
This card is called the Boom Boom Box.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it is. It's a red card, and you can pay mana to destroy artifacts to give your creatures +1/+0.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What color is it?
It's red, of course.
Okay.
If this card isn't red, I'm going to jump off this podcast.
This card is white.
I shouldn't have said it. Well, I mean, his outfit is white, I guess.
Yes, but you're correct. So this is Reliquary Monk.
Okay.
2 and a white for a creature, human monk cleric. It's a 2/2. When it dies, destroy target artifact or enchantment.
Wow!
So you did have that correct.
I had the soul read on it. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Which I think is right. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's dead, and that's why this bowl is shattering.
Oh, so it's not constipation, but death.
Yeah.
Often the faces are similar.
Very
the
similar.
medical community has told me. So, okay.
Oh, doctors are reporting on this phenomenon.
What does poop face look like?
Read my medical paper.
If I was a doctor, I would take the opportunity to write some truly unhinged medical papers. Like people are like, why is she studying that? What
Someone
constipation face looks like? That's not even scientific
That's
term.
not even scientific.
That's not even science.
That's not science.
What you're doing, ma'am, isn't science or medicine. I don't know what it is. Here's your card.
Oh my goodness. Okay, what I'm seeing is like a big, sad creature made of stone. It's still kind of attached to the earth in places.
Yeah, that's kind of
like
cool.
its hand is still melting into the earth and its feet are attached to the earth. It is like, it's not quite a golem because it doesn't have like a humanoid face. It's a little bit more of a monstery face.
What would you call
You know
this
what I'm
expression on this creature?
Just depressed.
Yeah, this is depression.
This creature is deeply depressed.
Constipation, depression,
Yes.
the two genders.
Wow, grim. I'm gonna call this depressed golem.
Yeah, that's a great name. What does it
Depressed
do?
Golem is the name of this card. It is also, I'm gonna say it's 4 mana for a 2/2, but you can sacrifice it to give a creature -1/-1.
Wow, you are like so close. What color did you say
It's
was
colorless.
Colorless. Okay,
Yeah.
this is red.
Oh.
It is Flowstone Shambler for 2 and a red. It's a beast. It's a 2/2, like you said. For a single red mana, it gets +1/-1 until end of turn.
Oh, all right.
Originally from Stronghold.
I was pretty far away, I think.
I mean, you had
It was a
you had
2/2.
like the -1 kind of,
vibe.
felt similar, and you
I'm
knew it
just
was
saying,
a 2/2.
that's one depressed golem.
It is. I would have guessed this was like a 7/8 or something because it just looks large
It
because
is
it's made of
huge,
rocks. But maybe we're
Rogs.
just maybe we just think it's big.
Yeah.
But actually, if there was a bird, scale
We
bird,
need a scale bird.
we
here
don't know
because
how
it's not that big.
big it is.
It's quite. It's
because it's
quite
a
average.
small
Yeah.
little rock guy who is sad.
This reliquary monk was from Urza's Destiny.
Urza's destiny.
Yeah.
It's Urza's destiny that he will have to go poop poop, but
Oh,
he
that's
can't.
right. Oh, I was gonna say Urza's Destiny is that he explode that bowl,
That is true.
aka the Silex.
Silex.
Explode that bowl.
The fancy bowl.
The very fancy bowl.
He explode.
Exactly.
that
The
bowl.
nuclear winter bowl. Uh-oh.
Oh, I registered for one of those at Williams and Sonoma.
They would sell one.
The nuclear. What did
Williams
you
and
call it?
Sonoma, come get the nuclear winter bowl.
Wait, is it 4 nuclear winters that you bring it out with the fine china, or that it causes
It causes nuclear winters. Watch out. Williams and Sonoma for fancy war criminals. Should we start with revitalizing standard?
Yes.
All right. Starting at the top.
Starting at the top, everybody. So if you didn't hear
Yeah.
by listening to the upkeep or just knowing, standard is going to go through some changes. It's called puberty, and we're
Wow, this is like its 80th puberty.
it's 30 years old, honestly.
that's
so late bloomer, but
It's okay.
Standard is going through some changes, and what's going to happen is Wizards of the Coast decided that they're going to move Standard, which is currently on a 2-year rotation, to a 3-year rotation.
Yes.
Everybody. So that's a pretty huge change. It means your cards are going to be in Standard a lot longer than they have been previously. It also means that Wizards is going to have the ability to print cards that they are answers, potentially, or support to cards that are in the Standard environment.
Yeah.
Because Wizards designs cards so far ahead of time that they can't do that normally. They just have to rely on bannings and that kind of thing to sort of change up the format. But now that they'll have the additional tool of being able to literally print something to add into a format, which I think is kind of cool.
So they talked about how this is part of like a bigger plan to revitalize Standard because they were noticing a decline in local game stores. And Standard is like such a staple of stuff like F&M.
Yeah.
They're like, we want people to be excited about it. We want people to be coming out to play it and supporting their LGS by playing Standard in these Standard environments. So they're like, one, like you said, this is going to give your cards more longevity. So it means like if you love a card, you get to play it for a lot longer.
And if you hate a card,
you get to see it for a lot longer.
Well, that's another question that we're going to get to later, which is how banning is going to be different.
Yeah. Also, like you were saying, they think that this will allow mechanics and archetypes to be more effectively built over time.
Yeah.
So they're like, since they don't do the blocks anymore, it means that they don't really have as much space to explore a mechanic that's introduced in a set.
Right.
For instance, something like...
Well, they mentioned like they wanted, for instance, a deck like Soldiers, Azorius Soldiers,
absolutely.
is kind of like not the greatest deck right now with all the Rakdos mid-range running around in Standard. And they said, well, if we had more time to kind of work with that, it's not a mechanic, but whatever, we could have better support for that across sets.
Yeah, or if you think back to something like the cycling deck.
Sure.
Back in Ikoria, they're saying like, oh, cycling was a standard deck. It wasn't like necessarily a top tier standard deck because they only had the one set, Ikoria, to deal with it.
Right.
But if those cards are in rotation longer, they'll have more time to print stuff that supports a deck like cycling.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is kind of cool. And like you were saying, yeah, they want to move more towards decks that are like colors and a mechanic, like Celestia Toxic or Azorius Soldiers, as opposed to a bunch of mid-range.
Grixis, mid-range.
Exactly. And
What's
I hope
that
that
deck's
this
mechanic?
will also do
Good.
that. Yeah. They'll have more time to build cards that have support for that.
That would make me very happy if that actually ends up occurring because of this change, because truthfully, just having a bunch of mid-range decks slamming against each other is not the most exciting thing to experience in a standard format. When your cards are such high power levels, like... I mean,
it's just what's going to happen
they are.
Sometimes.
That's just how it's going to, play out.
You need more time to build strong synergy to overcome like pure force
power
level.
And synergy, I think, just, some people may disagree with this, but I think synergy is just way more fun to play with.
Yeah, synergy is
than
great.
Pure power.
It does cool stuff.
So I really hope that does end up happening because of this change.
Yeah.
So when is it going to happen? Well, it's happening currently because once Wilds of Eldraine comes, that would normally be the trigger to rotate standard, right?
It's simply not gonna.
It just won't.
So there will be no rotation happening this fall.
Weird.
Nothing is going to become outdated and standard.
Right.
No sets are going to rotate out. Of course, some people had questions about this, like, what about Fable of the Mirrorbreaker and how much I hate it?
Yeah. Speaking of having to play with cards you hate longer.
Yes.
They have not directly said what their banning and restricting philosophy will be with this new change. However, they do say that they are revisiting it and they're redesigning it. So I can only imagine it's going to have to be more aggressive.
Yeah, they already talked about a little bit about how they're going to move back to scheduled banned and restricted announcements.
Right.
This was just in the Magic Discord. There was a little question and answer thread, and Andrew Brown on there, one of the play team designers, was like, hey, we're going to move back to actually scheduled announcements rather than just springing them on people. They're actually going to be talking about that more today.
Yes, today.
On Weekly MTG. So you could find answers right now what their banning philosophy is going to be.
You're in the future, so you know more than we do.
Yes,
so let us know what you hear.
Wow. Come back into the past. We're waiting. Hold on. We're going to give you 10 seconds to appear.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Are you there? And poof in. Come on, and poof.
We cannot tell you whether someone did or did not appear to us from the future in the 10 seconds that we just waited.
Because if we told you, that would mess up the whole timeline.
Exactly. But don't worry. Either someone did or did not.
Or they didn't. They announced this during the Pro Tour, and I was watching Twitch chat when it got announced.
Yeah.
And I was curious to see how people would respond. And I think specifically because it was announced during the Pro Tour, when
we were seeing so many Fable of the
Mirrorbreaker. It was the most played card in the tournament. The reaction was like, no!
Yeah. Well, I thought it was interesting. Online, what I saw was an initial, there was like a flash of like, oh, this is great, followed immediately by the realization of, oh, this means another year of Fable,
right.
Which cycled almost immediately into, oh no.
Yeah, right.
So there was a hot second of like, yay, before people were like,
Boo.
oh, actually, wait a second.
Yeah, and I think because we weren't informed of the banning philosophy, that is why we got that reaction.
Yeah.
I feel like if they had said, like, I don't know that they're going to say this, but it's just like, it seems obvious to me that they will say like, yeah, we're not going to like leave cards like Fable in forever. Then we would have had a little bit of a mitigation to this backlash suddenly. We'll see. But I'm very optimistic that they'll know how to handle this kind of thing.
I hope so.
And that we'll have a more varied and more playable standard environment. Your cards will be, good for longer, which I think this change is necessary because of the fact that we don't have so many Grand Prix happening all the time anymore.
Yeah.
Like that might have been a reason people were more interested in playing Standard. Those don't exist, so maybe the desire to play it has fallen off a little bit. And there's all these popularity with the Eternal formats and stuff like Commander or whatever. And like, well, I can just keep my cards forever. They're great forever, more value.
Exactly.
And then there's less and less interest in playing a rotating format. So
fingers crossed this helps.
I know. I'm really, really hoping it does, because local game stores need people to be playing the hallmark format of Standard. And we support local game stores, and so we want people to go there and have a good time and play Magic's quote-unquote premier format. So let's go, everybody. Let's go. I hope it changes things for the better.
Yeah.
All right. Revitalizing Standard. The next most exciting thing to me in the list of new Magic stuff is the Lord of the Rings stuff.
All right, let's talk Lord of the Rings.
How are you feeling after seeing some Lord of the Rings cards previewed and hearing about how the ring mechanic works?
Wow, the ring mechanic took me several reads.
Yes, it is complicated.
To understand. It is very complicated. As many people have pointed out, though, it is apt for a Tolkien novel.
Yeah.
Tolkien, not known for being brief.
Many descriptions of meals included in the ring mechanic.
So many.
So this was also debuted at MagicCon Minneapolis.
Yeah. So we have the ring.
The ring.
The ring is the card. Whenever the ring tempts you, you move through this list of things, of benefits. As people have pointed out, it is kind of interesting. There's no drawbacks to this.
To
right?
the ring.
The ring tempting you is never a bad thing for you or your creatures, which arguably is one of the most important lessons of the books, is that the ring tempting you is in fact quite a bad thing.
Who needs a lesson
I'm just
from
saying
a
that I
book?
think that if we're reading, I know that this is a very scholarly interpretation of Tolkien's novels. You have to really dig down deep into the lore to say, hey, I think that he might have been saying the ring might be bad.
Okay, I'm going to read a card that has the ring tempting you on it.
Yes.
All right, here it's literally called the Call of the Ring. It's 1 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, the ring tempts you. Whenever you choose a creature as your ring bearer, you may pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card. Okay, so this works, pretty directly with the One Ring and how it's going to work and what the heck, quote unquote, the ring tempting you means.
Yeah. So we now have the ring, which is
an emblem.
It's a double-faced helper card. And
it lives in your command zone.
Yeah, and it says at the top, the ring tempts you. As the ring tempts you, you get an emblem named the ring if you don't have one. Then your emblem gains its next ability, and you choose a creature you control to become or remain your ring bearer. It reminds me a little bit of Dungeons.
Yeah, for sure.
It kind of has that vibe, right? Of like,
Dungeon
you're
vibe,
going
and you're
down
going
this
through it.
Dungeon vibe.
Dungeon vibe.
The next feature in Martha Stewart magazine.
Dungeon vibe.
Dungeon vibe.
Hey, do you want to make your house dungeon
vibes?
Consider hanging handcuffs from the ceiling. Brickwork that's wet, and I
really want this room in my house to have wet brickwork.
Those are the two main things that I thought. Handcuffs hanging from the ceiling and wet brickwork.
All right.
Dungeon vibes.
Dungeon vibes.
Oh, no windows. That's pretty important.
It has some reminder text also. The ring can tempt you even if you don't control a creature. The ring gains its abilities in order from top to bottom. Once it gains an ability, it has that ability for the rest of the game.
Wow.
Each time the ring tempts you, you must choose a creature if you control one.
Okay.
And each player can have only one emblem named the ring and only one ring bearer at a time.
Okay, so even if say I've got a creature in play, the ring tempts me. That means I choose that creature if I have just one as my ring bearer.
Yes.
And the first room of this ring dungeon.
Room of the dungeon.
of the ring dungeon says, your ring bearer is legendary and can't be blocked by creatures with greater power.
All right.
So it gives it a little treat for being the ring bearer.
A little treat.
A little treat.
You can have a little treat.
But say this ring bearer dies. Wait, hold on. I'm going to amend this. I get tempted again. We're going into room 2 of the ring. Whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. So we have both of these abilities on that creature now, right?
Creature.
So that's pretty good. That creature's going to die. I get a new creature, and I have to wait for the ring to tempt me again.
Yes. It does not immediately become your ring bearer.
Right.
It is not until the ring tempts you.
Okay, so I've got my new creature. Ring tempts me again.
Yeah.
Does that mean now
you get the You get the third thing.
Okay.
And your ring bearer has all three of these.
Wow.
Because it says your ring bearer.
Okay.
Right? Not like the creature that you just chose.
Yeah.
So the third one is whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it at end of combat.
Okay. That's kind of cool.
Pretty OP. And whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. That's the last chapter of the ring. That's the last room of the ring dungeon.
So if you can get all the way through the ring dungeon, your creatures that are the ring bearers are going to be pretty powerful.
The ring dungeon is also an amusement park where you go through the terrifying experience of the film The Ring.
Oh my God. So like there's just a creepy girl, black and white girl chasing you the entire time on all fours.
Yeah, she come out of a well and she chase you.
Oh my God. It's like the thing that's like there's a snail that's chasing you forever.
Yeah, and if it touches you,
you die. But you get what was it? You get $10 million or whatever. Yeah. I'm slamming that button. Chase me, snail. See if you get me. I heard somebody the other day was like, I'm going to put the snail in a Tupperware. I'm going to catch it and put it in a Tupperware.
Wow, bold.
And every time that I want to be sad about something, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to open the Tupperware. And everyone's like, stop it.
Wow.
Just enjoy your $10 million.
Your $10 million.
So yeah, I would not go to that
Is
theme
it
park.
legal to capture the ring? The snail, I mean. The ring.
In this scenario?
I think it's not legal to capture the snail.
No, because it's breaking the hypothetical.
Exactly.
You can't put it in a Tupperware.
Is chasing you.
It's chasing you. It can't chase you in a Tupperware.
Exactly. It must chase.
But here's the thing. Okay, you want to for sure see the snail the first time.
I want to know what it looks like.
I meant because then you know where your starting point is, and you can calculate how long it takes snail to go 5 miles or whatever.
Oh, I thought you were just like, do I want to know what the murder snail looks like? And like, my answer is yeah. Like, I want to look at it.
I mean,
that way I'm also not spooked every time I see a snail. Like, you need to know. I hope it has identifying markings, so I'm not just scared of snails for the rest of my life.
I mean, you probably will be regardless.
Yeah. Like, what if it's wearing a disguise of another snail?
Little mustache.
Anyways.
But I mean, if you see where it starts, then you can be like, okay, I see this snail, the murder snail, here in Minneapolis. And like, I'm going to move to France. And I know it will take snail. Well, if we might get on a boat, I'm gonna
I think the snail can get on a plane.
How is it getting on the plane? It doesn't have a ticket.
It's a snail. It doesn't need a ticket. It's not sitting in a seat.
It just crawls through the airport and gets on the plane.
Yes.
All right. So then I have to just calculate how long it takes a snail to get from here to the airport.
To the airport. Does it take a lift?
Oh God.
That's what I'm saying, Maria. I don't think that you will ever feel truly safe. For the rest of your life. So think about that.
Can it get through? It can get through any wall.
Yes.
I know. I already knew when I asked it. It's coming for you.
It's coming for you.
Okay, I'm going to have to rethink this for a while.
I know. Anyways.
What do you think about the ring?
You know, I agree with the people who are like, it should have a downside.
Yeah.
I think that it should have some kind of downside.
Maybe there are cards... No. That doesn't make any sense that it's a downside when it tempts you. I don't know.
Maybe there will be, right? Maybe there will be creatures because we've seen a card already, Sauron the Necromancer, that wants to be the ring bearer.
Yeah, this is 3 black for a 4/4 menace, legendary avatar horror. Whenever it attacks, exile target creature card from your graveyard, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black wraith with menace. At the beginning of the next end step, exile that token unless Sauron is your ring bearer.
Right.
So that gets a bonus.
Very powerful.
Bonus for being the ring bearer.
So potentially there will be cards that maybe get a detriment for being the ring bearer? That does seem a little weird.
No, that seems strange.
Something bad should happen if you're the ring bearer. You lose your mind. A giant spider tried to eat you.
Maybe you have to mill or something like that.
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, it's a lot of text. It seems fairly complicated, but I mean, once you get the hang of it, it'll be very simple.
I think that it is very complicated to read, but I agree that I think it's going to feel pretty intuitive once we get going with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's just going to be like, oh, I know how this works.
Once you get used to the feel of using this. Yeah.
So we also know what Frodo Baggins does to supplement Sauron.
Oh, yeah.
Legendary creature Halfling Skull 1/3 for green and a white. Whenever Frodo or another legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, the ring tempts you. As long as Frodo is your ring bearer, it must be blocked if able.
Oh.
That's interesting, especially considering the ring's first ability.
Yeah, exactly. Or its third one where you have to sacrifice the blocking creature.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty powerful. I also love that we're starting to see a little bit of the tableau of the party.
Yes.
Because this Frodo art is from the Bilbo's birthday party.
Yeah.
We also have the Bilbo retired burglar
So cute.
art, the delighted halfling. I'm very excited to see this Gandalf, friend of the Shire, and Wizard's Rockets. I want to see this all together.
Yeah, because this is one of those panorama situations where if you put all the cards up together, all of the borderless ones, you get the picture of the party.
Yeah.
Very, very cute.
I also love that Lobelia Sackville Baggins is a black mana creature. They hate the Sackville Bagginses.
2 and a black for 2/3 Flash Menace. When she enters the battlefield, exile target creature card from an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Then create X treasure tokens where X is an exiled creature's power.
Right.
Card's power.
They're the ones who just want to inherit everything.
Yeah, and they're inheriting in this card.
Oh, yeah.
We also know what Gandalf is. Very cute. Gandalf, friend of the Shire. There's multiple versions.
One of the Gandalf.
Yeah.
A new Gandalf.
A new Gandalf. 3 and a blue for 2/4 flash. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash.
Nice.
Interesting. Whenever the ring tempts you, if you chose a creature other than Gandalf, friend of the Shire, as your ring bearer, draw a card.
Oh,
so
Gandalf
Gandalf
doesn't want to be the ring bearer. No, he knows.
Okay, well that's
he
kind
says
of
pick someone else.
Yeah, that's that's kind of interesting.
I like that.
Yeah, that's similar to what we were talking about, but not entirely the same. But anyway, yeah, looks very, very cool. Very excited for this set coming out next.
Yeah.
This summer.
Wow.
Hold on.
So that we can get ready for MagicCon Barcelona Pro Tour Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. I'm just seeing when the release date of this is. June 23rd.
Wow. How is that next month?
It's next month that this is coming out. And it's going to be legal and modern, everybody.
Oh.
So it's not going to be legal and standard. So don't worry. You're not going to be ring bearing everywhere in standard. But interesting to see if there will be an impact for modern, one of Magic's most beloved formats, which is the format of the Pro Tour in Barcelona. So we're going to see if, Gandalf makes an appearance
at the Pro Tour
in the top 8.
Wow.
Which would be a very funny thing to say
That would be very
on
funny.
coverage.
Gandalf has entered the top 8.
Has entered the top 8. How many copies of Gandalf are in the top 8?
And we are not even halfway there.
We are not. Okay, what do you want to do next?
Let's talk about... let's just go in order now, I think.
Okay.
Which means Wilds of Eldraine?
Wilds of Eldraine, everybody.
Or is it Commander Masters? Wait, it is Commander Masters.
All right, Commander Masters.
Comes next.
Next.
This is out on August 4th.
Okay, August 4th, Commander Masters.
Yes.
This is 4 new decks?
4 new Commander decks.
4 new pre-con Commander decks. These ones we've known about for a while as far as like just kind of what the names of the decks were, but now we are seeing what the commanders are.
Yeah.
In this release, and they're very cool.
And this is also not just the decks, it's also draft set and collector boosters.
Yes.
Like it's a full set.
Yes, it's a full set. It's not we're not messing around here. There's 4 commander decks, but it's also a draftable commander set, which those are always super fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the 4 commander decks. Whomst are the commanders?
Whomst are the commanders? So first we have Eldrazi Unbound, which is a colorless commander deck, which is very exciting. With Zolodoc Void Gorger.
Zolodoc.
5 and a colorless for a 7/4 legendary Eldrazi. Colorless spells you cast from your hand with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade, Cascade.
Okay, that's unreasonable. Speaking as 2 people who recently played against an Eldrazi deck in Oathbreaker.
We had to kill that person really quickly.
We had to murder.
Really quickly.
Because that kind of stuff is very spooky.
Okay, here's my other question.
What?
Do we know, have there ever been big named Eldrazi outside of Emrakul, Kozilek?
With a name.
With a name.
An Ulamog?
An Ulamog.
I don't know.
So I'm wondering.
Is this like the 4th named Eldrazi?
That's what I'm wondering. So This is a bee I've had in my bonnet since Battle for Zendikar.
Ooh, an old bee.
An old bee in my bonnet. It has a beard.
Cute, a beard.
Yeah. So back when the Eldrazi's were Ulamog and Kozilek were on Zendikar, slooping around, causing a lot of trouble. Someone was like, I think Eugene, the spirit dragon, was like, you can't just like kill them in this plane because that sets them loose in the blind eternities, right? They are just extensions of like inconceivable creatures in the blind eternities.
Sick.
Very sick, right?
Inconceivable.
But they did anyway. That's what they did. They burned them to a little crisp.
Yeah.
They crispied them.
And put them in the air fryer.
Yes. My question is, does this mean we're going to get to see new Titans later on at some point that are new extensions of the Titans from the Blind Eternities?
Wow.
Because they were, once again, that was only like the way that they appeared on Zendikar. They exist as something that we can't even really fathom outside in the Blind Eternities. I really hope so because Eugene was literally like, you can't do that. That's a bad thing. Like, that's a bad time. They'll just come back different, worse later.
Yeah.
And they were like, doesn't matter. We're just going to jump on this bandwagon and crisp them up here.
Oh, I don't know.
So that's my question.
Interesting.
I have since then been really mad being like, if they just solved this problem by doing what Eugene said not to do, I'm going to be mad. I've been mad about it for what, 6-7 years?
That bee has a beard.
Yes, that bee has a beard. Anyways, so that's my question. I was very excited to see a little named Eldrazi.
Zolodak.
Yes. Wondering, are we going to get to see some new Titans?
I mean, look, I've been out here soapboxing for a set in the Blind Eternity since I don't know when.
It's true.
And Mark Rosewater said to me, and I quote, "You can't set a set in a doorway." And I said, "You're just not thinking big box enough."
Yeah.
Mark Rosewater, lead designer of Magic the Gathering. Get real, bro. Unquote.
Unquote. That was the full quote.
That was the full quote. So, remains to be seen. I think I'm getting him to come over to my side, but then all of our brains will melt because we can't fathom it. Let's talk about the other commanders.
Yes.
This next one is an Anaxia, Hand of Erebos.
Yeah.
From Theros.
This is Enduring Enchantments, white, black, green.
She is 2 white, black, green for 4/4 demigod. Very cool. Menace. Other enchantment creatures you control have menace. Whenever she enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target non-aura enchantment card from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 3/3 black zombie creature in addition to its other types.
I just mostly want to talk about like the art of this card.
It reminds me of Sauron.
It is gorgeous.
It's really pretty.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
It is, of course, Magali.
Oh, yes. Villeneuve, yeah.
Yes. Many, many great portrait pieces in the history of Magic. And it's just like, she's wearing like this gorgeous, like her warrior outfit that's like flying up behind her, like has like the star, like kind of like the night sky.
Inside on the bottom of the fabric.
This art, I'm just super into this art.
This, of course, is a Maria deck, so I look forward to playing it. Thanks for printing it, Wizards.
The next one is Commodore Guff. I'm already super into this.
The Guff.
Planeswalker Party. White, blue, red is this deck. Commodore Guff is the commander. He's a planeswalker.
Nice.
1 blue, red, white for a legendary planeswalker Guff.
He doesn't take any either.
Yeah, no.
No Guff taken from Commodore Guff.
Obviously, as the text, Commodore Guff can be your commander. 5 loyalty. The static ability at the beginning of your end step, put a loyalty counter on another target planeswalker you control.
Oh, you're trying to get him a super
Pretty
friends
nice
situation here.
Yeah. +1, create a 1/1 red wizard creature token with tap, add red. Spend this mana only to cast a planeswalker spell. And -3, you draw X cards and Commodore Guff deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of planeswalkers you control.
Do you want to play with all the planeswalkers? Welcome to Planeswalker Party.
This kind of seems sick.
With Commodore
I want to
Guff.
see what this looks like.
Yeah, that's a very cool deck. Then we have the one that might be the most anticipated.
Yes.
Which was Sliver Swarm.
This is, of course, Wooburg.
All the colors.
As any good sliver deck is.
And the commander is really cool. Sliver Grave Mother. Happy Mother's Day. Costs Wooburg for a 6/6 sliver. The legend rule doesn't apply to slivers you control. Okay, that's a static ability. Each sliver creature card in your graveyard has Encore X, where X is its mana value. What is Encore, you may ask?
Yes.
Well, it's on Sliver Grave Mother too. Encore 5. 5 colorless, generic mana. Exile this card from your graveyard. For each opponent, create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste. Sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. Activate as a sorcery.
Wow. Pretty sick.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very powerful and would be a super interesting and fun deck to play with. Slivers is just a really fun tribe, and I think it's cool that they printed a deck to support that.
Yeah. So previews for the set begin on July 11th, and then the pre-release with Loading Ready Run is July 22nd.
Sick. There's going to be pre-release.
Yeah. Pre-release events are July 28th through 30th, and then it launches on August 4th.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's Commander Masters. What's up next?
Wow. All right. Next up is Wilds of Eldraine.
Wilds of Eldraine.
We're just continuing to roll through this.
There's not too much to let you know about.
That's
but
true.
There's a little bit. So the first look for this set is going to be July 28th, and previews are going to start on August 15th. What we've gotten to see from this is a look at some of the key art from the set, as well as a set symbol, which is a little book.
I love all of this art. Mostly, I love there's the gingerbread person on a gingerbread horse. I want the gingerbread horse. Give me a gingerbread horse card. If you don't give me a gingerbread horse card, I don't know what to tell you. I'm going to be real mad about it.
This is the gingerbread whose boyfriend was killed by Garrick.
Yeah.
And she now is holding a fork, you know, like the kind that you stab meat with, and the horse is rearing back and she's ready to stab Garrick's eyes out, I believe.
Yes.
Is what's going to happen.
I want this gingerbread horse, okay?
It's pretty cute.
I want it. It's so cute.
My favorite art that they showed off is this art of this woman holding like a crystal apple.
Yeah, we see 2 arts of her.
Oh yeah, that is
which
her in the
makes
first
me
one
wonder,
too.
double face cards? ?
Interesting.
Because this looks like the same person.
Yeah, this is for sure the same person.
She's got like the very like platinumy hair.
Yeah,
and then the cape, like the kind of like back of her cape is like is shattered glass,
or like a wing of a butterfly.
Yes.
So I don't know who this is, but maybe she's like modeled after the Queen from Snow White.
Yeah.
That she's giving Queen from Snow White. Let's be real. Ashiok is also here. We saw a full piece of art for Ashiok and Ashiok on one of the set boosters.
This is great. So we don't, like you said, we don't really know much about it. Oh, we have seen Will and Rowan on some of the booster box materials. So we know that we're going to see them.
And we know that there's going to be a couple of new commander decks with this release, including Fey Dominion in blue and black and Virtue and Valor in green and white.
So super exciting.
The art of this makes it look fabulous. I mean,
the art is really cool.
I'm very excited.
It's really gorgeous.
Excited to be going back so soon, honestly.
And it was such a fun plane. It's a fun, we like fairy tale planes.
Yes, we love top-down design planes. This one starting with fairy tales, of course. And I really like the mechanic that we had in Eldraine with, being able to, I didn't like, the Mr. Stompy, but
no one did.
Nobody did.
No one did.
But it was a fun mechanic, and I'm happy to. I can only assume that it's going to be back.
Have it again.
Yeah.
Do you know what? This has got to be right. Like you're right. This has got to be Snow White Queen.
Yeah.
This is we're gonna call this double face card.
Yes, because
Snow
look
White
at this
Queen.
one where she's holding the apple here.
Exactly.
And you can see her reflection of her true old self.
Of her true spooky crone face.
Oh, cool.
And like all of the thorns. Okay.
I love it.
Anyways, it's great.
I'm a fan. Okay, there's Wilds of Eldraine coming out on September 8th.
All right, here we go. The last one that we're talking about today, which is Doctor Who.
Doctor Who!
Which I'm also so excited for.
Yes, absolutely.
This comes out on October 13th, celebrating 60 years of Doctor Who.
Oh, that's
which is
so
very
fun.
Cool. Yeah.
This is just, they've showed a lot of art off for
I
the
know.
set. It's all
That's
really,
mostly
really
what we've
cool. We're Doctor Who fans, so we're into it.
We saw the little set symbol is a little TARDIS, obviously.
Very cute.
Very cute. And like you said, we saw some key art. So we saw art for a bunch of doctors. We saw the 10th Doctor, David Tennant Doctor.
Yeah.
We saw 4th Doctor, Scarf Doctor.
Scarf, better known
Known
as
specifically
Scarf Doctor.
as Scarf Doctor. 13th Doctor. We saw a couple of arts of her.
Yes.
One of them is like really gorgeous and
I
cool.
love her
I'm
outfit.
very excited to know more about it. So Davros Dalek Creator. we
Very
saw some art
cool.
for. Yeah. And The Parting of the Ways, which I believe this is a saga,
It
right?
looks like a saga.
Because it's it's like a narrow vertical art.
Yeah.
So I believe that these are going to have some sagas in them.
So there's going to be 4 commander decks again to celebrate this set,
Mm-hmm.
and they're each going to take a chunk of time. Oh, wow. Time.
Wow.
From the Doctors. There's going to be one built around the classic Doctors. That's called Blast from the Past, and that's going to be green, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's going to be Timey-Wimey, which is blue, red, white, and that's going to be the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctors.
Classic. Then there's the 12th and 13th Doctors in Paradox, which is green, blue, red.
And a dedicated deck to the villains of Doctor Who, which is going to be blue, black, and red, called Masters of Evil. Very cool.
Yeah, very exciting.
Each deck has 50 new cards and a new set of plane chase cards featuring locations from Doctor Who. They
we
showed
got
off.
to see one of these.
Yes, we did.
The Lux Foundation Library, playing the library. Players have no maximum hand size. You love to see it. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. You really love to see it.
Oh, you sure do.
And whenever chaos ensues, put a shadow counter on target creature. A creature with shadow can block or be blocked only by creatures with shadow.
They showed off a bunch of lands for this set too, which they each have a TARDIS hiding in them.
Yeah, it's very cute.
And they're all based on classic episodes. So you can actually source where these images came from. Somebody did that on Twitter, which I think
Very
is
cool.
really cool.
Yeah.
And for the first time ever, there's going to be collector boosters that go with this set.
Because this set is just the 4 commander decks.
Yeah.
But they're going to do special treatments in these collector boosters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I want to play these decks.
I know. Here's my question.
What?
We just covered a bunch of things that are coming up over the next like 4 or 5 months.
Yes.
Are you feeling fatigue?
No,
Okay, fair enough.
not really. I don't think so.
I'm just asking. It was a big thing last year that people were talking
Yeah.
about, especially as the release for stuff got pushed back due to supply chain issues. And so
Due
I'm
to
just,
a boat stuck in a
Dude.
tube.
due to boat. So yeah, I guess my question for everyone out there is, how are you feeling
This time
about
around.
the volume of stuff that's coming out? For me, I am just excited just because each of these things is really cool.
Yeah.
In a way that I'm very interested in seeing. Like I love Lord of the Rings. I'm interested in seeing it come to life in Magic.
Well, think about this too. These are all very different things.
That's true.
Lord of the Rings, that's modern, playable, whatever. Doctor Who, that's going to be commander decks.
Yep.
Same with the commander masters, but that's also draftable.
Yeah.
So they're each a little different, which I think is helping the issue as well.
I think if I had to rank them, right, it's going to be different for everybody. How would you rank what you're excited for that we've talked about today?
Okay, number 1, Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Then I'm going to put, then I'll put the Commander Masters decks because I think those are kind of cool.
Wow.
Then I'll put Doctor Who. Yeah.
I think for me, that's fascinating to hear because if I'm looking at this list and I'm like, it feels to me like if it were me personally, I maybe would have cut one thing.
Yeah.
And I think Commander Masters is what I would have cut.
Whoa, you're cutting Commander Masters.
I know.
Wow, bold
But I'm trying
choice.
to just like maybe hold it for next year or something. Because I think for me, it's honestly, I think my number 1 is Wilds of Eldraine.
Oh, Wilds.
Just because
I forgot
the
about
art
Wilds.
is so good.
Dang it.
Wilds, then Lord of the Rings. It's so hard for me, but I think Lord of the Rings and then Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And then Commander Masters comes in
Yeah.
last for me.
Wow. And standard changes. We didn't even put that on the list.
I mean, that doesn't, I'm talking about set
okay,
releases.
set
but-
releases. Okay.
Yeah. So that's just my hot take. I think I did have a moment when I found out that Commander Masters was also happening that I
Yeah.
was like, I don't think I need, like, this is the one that's, I think might be one too much for me personally.
Sure.
But it was really high on your list.
Yeah.
Which I think is important to remember, right? Like, You don't need to participate in every product. I might not participate at all in Commander Masters.
Right, exactly.
I might just let that set like fly on by me.
Except for that, we're definitely going to play it. So,
well, okay.
Think about that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Megan's trying to have it fly on by her.
But it will not. It's declining to fly.
It feels like you're going to be playing Planeswalker Party with
okay,
Commodore Guff.
The Guff got me.
The Guff got in me. The Guff always gets you. We didn't even mention Aftermath, by the way.
Oh my goodness, because it's out right now.
It's out right now, everybody.
Do you know what? I enjoyed the way that it slightly shifted the draft format on Arena.
Yeah, it's just a little nudge.
Exactly.
Tiny little
But I think
nudge.
that it made... I think that Red has seen an improvement.
Yeah, and I mean, it needed it.
Yes, it really needed it.
It needed it.
So, wow.
There's a lot coming up, everybody.
Exactly.
It's going to be exciting next few months in Magic.
Holy smokes.
And we're happy to have you here on the roller coaster with us, with our arms in the air.
Arms in the air.
Waving them like we do care.
Stopping for some sets. Letting other sets just fly on by.
Well, friends, that's this episode of Good Luck High Five.
And enemies, that was an episode of Bluey.
What? An episode of what? Bluey?
Yeah, it's like a kid's show.
Is it a real kid's show?
Yes, you think I just made up a show called Bluey?
It sounded like Blue's Clues. A lot. What happens on Bluey?
I don't know.
How do you know it's real? Have you watched
talks about it?
How do you spell it?
Bluey.
Wow, I'm out of it. Bluey show.
Wow, this is really going somewhere. I was just making a dumb joke. Like, if you hated this, pretend that
I'm
it was tell people
show.
that it was an episode of Bluey instead.
Oh, I see. It's like animated dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
What isn't these days?
If I ever see a live action children's show, I will scream out of surprise.
Anyways, this has been Good Luck High Five.
Our thoughts on children's shows on another episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody who supports the show on patreon.com/GLHF Magic. We'd love to get some new patrons for next episode so we can dedicate the episode to you personally.
We would love to.
I want to personally dedicate. So go over there and become a new patron or up your existing pledge and you'll get a donation of an episode in your honor.
In your honor.
Check out Card Kingdom at cardkingdom.com/GLHF. They're a great place to buy whatever you need for Magic. Mm-hmm. And just buckle up, Buttercups, because we got a lot coming at you pretty fast here.
Whew. It's gonna be a summer and fall.
It's gonna be a summer and fall. 2023.
Wow.